On today's episode, we are talking about how to get started in hardscapes in terms of education.
I'm John.
I'm Amanda, and we are the hardscape nerds.
Why hardscape?
Because we scape so hard.
Right. Go ahead.
So I always see guys asking for advice from other hardscapers about what to do, where to go for education. And I see YouTube videos that have good intentions, I believe, but they're just not complete information. So to address the question, where do you go when you want to learn how to do hardscapes? When you want to learn how to do it the right way. So ICPI, NCMA are the two big organizations that are now...
CMHA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Concrete Masonry and Hardscape Association?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I guess that could be tricky because if you've not heard of the two early organizations that are now merged, but they still operate. I've still seen they have their own websites up and running.
I haven't followed up since they merged, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so what you originally said 3 minutes ago, that's how hard we prepared for this, was what if I was starting over, what would I do? Right?
Yeah, I thought we were taking a different turn, but yes, if you were starting over in 2023,
okay,
what would you do?
Should we? What track do you want to go down?
Well, I think that's part of it, unless you don't think you would have made it part of it. So
I absolutely would have.
Under that umbrella.
Yeah. So jotting down my super quick notes here. The number one thing I would have done is learn accounting. I see so many people in our industry, myself especially, but we don't think we understand the numbers, and we don't. We don't understand what an actual write-off is. Mm-hmm. It's not as cut and dry as you think. If you put money on a credit card, you put a purchase on a credit card, you don't get the write-off. You get the write-off when you do it, when you make the purchase. You don't get the write-off when you pay the credit card bill.
Yeah, so now it's actually a liability.
Yeah, you pay down your debt. So if you have a credit card balance, you're paying down your debt with profit. So you think you made profit, you think you actually had money, but you're not. You're actually paying taxes on the money you're paying the credit card. So a lot of people don't understand that. That's something that's huge. So yeah, that would be, for me, the first thing is just to absolutely understand accounting, learn how to read a P&L statement, and it's you have to understand the balance sheet. I'm still fuzzy on that, and most people are, but a P&L statement, that is a profit and loss statement. That is the number one thing that you're going by. You need to be able to produce your own. If you're a small business, you shouldn't have to go to your accountant to get one. If you're using QuickBooks, you can pull it up, and I can pull one up in 3 seconds if QuickBooks is running. So you shouldn't be worrying, or you shouldn't be using an accountant for that. Understanding an accountant's role. I thought that the accountant just handles everything. They don't. You have to tell them what to do.
And provide all the documentation.
You're providing the documentation, but you still have to guide them to what you want. And if you have no basis for accounting, then there's gonna be miscommunications and problems. You have to be super careful about delegating your bookkeeping. That's been a problem for us. That's how most businesses get robbed.
Yeah.
That didn't happen for us, but I know
we each have family members.
Yeah, where it happened for tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars people getting robbed by their bookkeeper. So that's huge. So the line, I forget where, but it just says, "In God we trust." Everyone else has to use purchase orders. So it's and the other reason you want to oversee your bookkeeping is it's not just to make sure that person's not scamming you, because if you're hiring right, they shouldn't be scamming you. But if there's a mistake, it looks like that person's scamming you, and they didn't. He or she just made a simple mistake. So you have to be overseeing it, because you can't put everything on this other person, your bookkeeper. That's not fair, So if you just
Checks
have
and balances.
Simple administrative person doing the data entry, that you need to be overseeing it. You need to understand all this stuff. You need to understand if something's out of whack. Make sure people aren't running stuff and stealing stuff from your business and running side jobs with your materials. And, that happens a lot. And it's just, you really got to pay attention to that. So
in accounting too, I used to think, and I think you were along these same lines, that accounting is more cut and dry and more black and white, more of a science, and it's really an art form in a sense.
It is, and that blows my mind. I thought that this equals this, and it's not. The math is simple, but how you get to those numbers is, and there's certain things you can do. You absolutely should have an accountant, professional accountant. It's definitely not something you want to try to do completely on your own. You should, if you're running a business, you should not be filing your own tax returns. That is a really bad idea. Moving on. Another thing, an issue that I had is I would never delegate my responsibility as an owner. This falls in line with what was just being said with the accounting, but just in general, where the crews, you get them up to speed, and it's like, okay, you got this. You talk with the customer, you can handle this, and you're just trying to grow the business, and you still have to be in charge of everything. You can't just delegate it and just like, okay, just send me a check. Doesn't work that way. I think a lot of people try and do it too early. I'm guilty of it, and it causes a lot of grief. And then the natural progression is companies, they grow, and then they start running into all these problems.
It's the E-Myth.
The E-Myth revisited. That's the book, and it happens with just about everybody. And then you start shrinking back down to get a control on everything, and most people just stay small again. Like the average size hardscape landscape business is, I think, $500,000 a year, and maybe 4 or 5 people. That's it. So that's the average size. So when you see all these million, $7 million companies, that's not normal. So there's a reason why those people broke through. The other people haven't. It's.
I think a lot of it's knowing your numbers.
Well, that's huge. Yeah. I would absolutely agree with that. So, the other thing we actually touched on that I wrote down is like ICPI, NCMA. I would have got certified from the very beginning. I would have understood proper construction techniques. There's stuff that we did from the beginning, and it's like it's just bad work. Not because I did bad work. It was because I didn't know any better. Another thing is, this falls in line with this. I would never trust my block supplier, even the manufacturers. But the manufacturers are usually a little bit better, but your suppliers, you cannot trust them for advice. They're in the business of selling materials, and if project fails, it doesn't come back to them.
Yeah. So
that's one thing, but they don't want you to fail. However, they also don't always know the proper installation methods. I've had the worst advice I've ever got in my life from all kinds of construction techniques were from vendors. from people that were selling us the block and pavers, and it's just, there's so much bad information out there on YouTube. It's horrible. What people are trying to pass off as quality work, and it's killing the industry. There's such a low bar to entry in this industry, which I absolutely love. I love the fact that I started this business with $75 as a 14-year-old. You know, I love that. I don't want that to go away, but we need to get past, and we need to do a better job of educating the industry. So yeah, that's huge. I would have learned the proper techniques, and once I learned them, I did it that way. I don't play around, like, as I learned. So, and tying into that is, I would have attended every single training I could with the, when a vendor, when they're sponsoring different trainings and stuff, we're doing that now. Like I attend more trainings now as a NCMA advanced installer, one of the, top probably 5% in the field. I attend more trainings now than I did before, whenever I needed all the information. But I still, even though I know the stuff, I still, there's always one thing that I pick up, and it's always worth it to just go and just get one more thing. And it's amazing at what a higher level you see the stuff, and yeah, so it's,
keep the trainers on their toes too.
I've irritated a few trainers when I'm asking them questions, and say, yeah, but I don't, yeah, there's been quite a few.
I mean, were there, when you started though, because locally we've noticed there's a big uptick in the availability of training, and just even in the last 12 to 24 months. What was available 20 years ago?
20 years ago, very, very little. The ICPI was just kind of getting started. Like, it was, yeah, there wasn't a lot available. And I didn't even know what the stuff was. ICPI, NCMA, and you just hear, well, that's the way you're supposed to do it. And like, people say, oh, this is how you do GeoGrid. And like, just absolutely bad advice. We were told to use GeoGrid. We used woven fabric as a layer of GeoGrid. Like, it's just absolutely insane.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was early on. It's just bad advice from a supplier.
I know you said rounded gravel.
Yeah.
There was a supplier that told you behind a wall.
We had that, and we had a failure because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, yeah, there's been a lot of trouble with that stuff. So it's, yeah, you want to make sure that you have the information, but the right information. So
yeah, I see a lot of stuff that says do this like a pro, and it's a DIY person, and I'm watching it, and it's not, they're missing things. There's some little nuggets, but by and large, it's not. It's bad. It's not complete information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
That's it. They're not a pro.
They're a handyman. They're a whatever, and they don't understand it. So that's, yeah. All right. So that's all I have written down for all that. So I don't know what else. What would you do if you were starting out with us? Like, how we started?
That's a good question. I would have thought about what do I need to do to fulfill my role properly. I think sales training. I don't know what training to do for estimates. I guess just kind of more deep diving into Jim's book. We had it for a while and didn't really use it. So I think those two things are the big ones. And I didn't realize too, and just over the last few years, we've learned that you need to be in terms of our employees, we need to be a training company that installs. So we're developing people, because we don't just hire people from inside the industry. And we need to be a media company too, because we could do the best work and not, if we don't tell anyone about it or don't help educate people that are potential customers, then we won't get to install it.
Yeah, you definitely have to get the word out. That's probably the one area we're lacking. That if I could go over and start, I didn't put that in marketing, but yeah, marketing and sales, that would definitely help us, because we're getting work done. Like, it's not the field that's the issue. We're getting work done so fast that we just kind of keep getting close to running ourselves out of work, which is, it's a good problem on the field end. It's a overwhelming problem on the office end, though, trying to keep up with the ever increasing with the speed ever increasing on the field end.
There's that, and I get weary of talking to homeowners sometimes and hearing some of the same things. And there are people that are bad fits, but I truly believe if there was more awareness and education on the topic, that it would make our job a little bit easier. Because when we're up against somebody who, well, I could get this for $3,000 or I could get it for $20,000, and they go with the $3,000 option because they don't know any better. That's just, it's fighting for every, not every sale. There are people that are more savvy to it, but it's definitely more, there's more to it than just saying, here's your price. Hey, we're going to do it right. And them saying, cool, let's do it.
Yeah, education. So.
That's it.
Yep. All right. See you next time.